I'd like to call a special meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Brewer? Here. Trustee Grant?
Here.
Trustee Jones?
Here.
Trustee Tate? Trustee Todd?
Here.
Trustee Zupan? Here.
Public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on topics on the special meeting agenda only. Each speaker will be allowed one opportunity to speak.
My name is Bernadine Hopkins. Bernadine Hopkins. I wanted to ask you on page 1, I guess it would be under the general fund administration equipment repair and maintenance.
Excuse me, are you referring, excuse me, Bernadine, are you referring to the special meeting?
Yes, I believe I am. Isn't this about the special?
No, this is not the special meeting. The special meeting is at 6:30. You must be referring to something
The
else.
disbursements. I thought
That's doing the regular meeting itself.
Okay, I apologize.
That's
I
okay.
apologize. Then I'll reserve.
Hi, Parker. I had a question about the lease. Can the public know what the lease is?
I didn't hear you say you have a question about the lease.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
There's nothing explained on the agenda about what kind of lease it is, on what it is. Can
Okay.
the public know what it is?
Yes, we're going to discuss that in a few minutes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. New business, lease agreement. You guys have a copy of the, talking to the board now, the lease agreement that we went out and got. The reason for this meeting is this is a time constraint. We're able to secure a lease for 3 vehicles for the utility vehicles and leasing for the police department. And you can see the 2 different agreements that are there. One is the first proposal. It's for 4.2% interest. And that's if we deposit $100,000 into their account from one of our accounts, which is not a problem. They will give us interest on that $100,000, and also they won't charge us any fees for maintaining that account. The second proposal is for an interest of 4.7 without the requirements, and requirement being $100,000. And the terms are, it doesn't matter if it's 4 or 5 years as far as the interest is concerned. So it was told to us that either be 4 or 5 years, but the interest won't change. Only thing that is changing would be the $100,000 requirement that we would move from one of our accounts to their account, which is, we're trying to establish credit. Right now, it took us a while. We don't have credit. And also, this is a prelude to hopefully, in the near future, we're able to, instead of keep borrowing from the waterfront, what we used to do years ago is have a bridge loan every year of $500,000. So we're trying to work toward that. We have to start somewhere, and with some financial institution that they're willing to take a chance on us and establish credit, because we don't have credit at all as we speak. But now, since we're getting our audits, and since we're trying to show them that we're trying to stay within our means as far as our budget, they're willing to take a chance on us. So the reason for this meeting today is we didn't have a chance to discuss it. I wanted to let everyone know about it because I don't want to bring it at the next meeting and then vote on it right away. So I just wanted everyone to have a chance to, if you need to discuss it now, we have time to do it. If you have any questions about it now, and then after that we can go ahead and take a vote on this particular agreement. So are there any questions from any trustees? Yes.
So the $100,000 goes into what account?
Into their account.
Who's they?
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought the name was on here. The name is Old Plank, which is Wintrust.
Okay.
Old Plank is in Stager, right there. Their branch is in Stager, right on Stager Road and right off of, I think it's Chicago Road. And that's the branch. But they're owned conglomerate by Wintrust.
Okay. And so it's either 4.7 if we don't do the 100,000, 4.2 if we do the 100,000,
Yes.
and 100,000 to come from the general fund.
No, the 100,000 come from one, no. The 100,000 come from one of our funds that we have, that we don't touch. One of our funds that we're basically, it cannot come from TIF, because TIF goes to that, but it can come from either our CN fund or any fund that we have. And I think Mohan, pardon me? More, right, we have more than 100,000 in that fund.
Okay. And it has to be in that account for the duration of the lease agreement, which is 4 or 5 years.
Generally, we should carry the $200,000 every year.
From which fund?
CN, Canadian National Fund, Noise Mitigation Fund.
Is it that part of the grant that we was gonna use for?
Yeah.
So are we not using it?
We will be using, but not right away. During the time of duration of this lease, we can keep it. Or if there's any shortfall occurs, we can move other accounts so that we can get a good deal on discounts and interest rates.
Because we would have to use that
Even if we use,
before, the grant, that,
our plan is slowly move a bunch of accounts to the P.L.A.N bank account so that we can get a good deal on lease as well as interest. Plus, we can also, moving forward, we can also borrow on credit line basis up to about $500,000.
now they would need this up front, the $100,000.
Yes.
That's if we choose to go that way.
If not, they're going to let us upgrade to 4.7 instead of 4.2.
Over the duration of 4 to 5 years.
See, what we have to do is try to establish, because right now where our money's at, and we tried to get credit, they don't want it. It's a hard thing for them to, well, they don't want to extend credit to the village. So we're going to put our money where it's actually going to work for our advantage. And that's something that we're trying to work on so we can establish. The goal is to establish a yearly bridge loan until we get the taxes to pay our bills. Because between tax time, between that time, that's when we have our biggest shortfall. And if we can bridge a loan to that time till the money comes and we can pay that back each and every year, then we don't have to go into other funds.
Mohan, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have, I think, 200,000 in the CN fund right now, right? And we still have another 200,000 to apply for that we didn't get yet?
We have approximately about $169,000 in CM funds.
And are we supposed to get another 200,000 that we haven't applied for yet?
Probably we are going to use another $15,000 or $20,000 to pay the noise mitigation expenditure.
Mm-hmm.
Afterwards, the funds will generally remain the same unless the CN comes back and asks us to use it for some other purposes.
Okay, and I haven't checked my box, so what are the price of these vehicles? Because that's the big issue, that's the big question.
It approximately costs about $83,000 for 3 vehicles.
83,000. And what kind of vehicles are these?
So,
What kind of vehicles?
SUVs.
SUVs.
And what are the notes on that? What are we looking at, monthly lease payments?
We pay once a year. I think it's 18,000
Once a year. It's not a monthly payout, it's once a year.
18,000 for 3 vehicles?
For 5 years.
A year.
It comes to approximately about 18 or 19,000.
For 5 years.
I was under the impression that the CNN funds were restricted funds, that we can only use them for, you know, those people, but now you're saying that we could use it for something else?
No, we are not using that money, we are just simply moving the bank account into old P.L.A.N.
Oh, we just moving it.
We're
Okay.
just moving the account, we are not spending any money out of it until, unless, process like
Oh, okay. And I'm not familiar because I don't have my budget booklet with me, but I don't think, I don't recall seeing that there was 169,000 left in that account. You think?
I can send an email tomorrow morning
Okay.
with the actual cash on hand.
So, but we could still, even though they have $100,000, we could still do regular business. They just want to make sure we keep a balance of, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm, yeah, okay, sounds good.
I'm sorry, I thought I heard you say that we'd be paying approximately $18,000 to $19,000 a year per vehicle, but I also heard you say $83,000 a year.
$83,000 is for the total vehicle for 80 vehicles. Approximately it costs about $27,000 per vehicle. For 3 vehicles, it is approximately $83,000.
So how do we get from 18,000 to 27,000?
18,000 is the note
It is
each
divided by
year.
5 years or 4 years.
Multiply
It
times.
depends once again.
Multiply times 5 years.
It's just telling you an approximate benefit. If it is for 4 years or 5 years, I will give you the accurate dollar amount. Plus interest.
And so, are you saying that you have 169 now, but you're saying that for a fact we won't need to touch $100,000 of the CN money at all?
Definitely.
Sorry.
When is that the deadline for that grant that we're supposed to add on to get for the Osling grant?
Offline grant?
Yes.
is Next year, 2018, July.
So we will have to move some money, or I mean,
Until then, we could keep the money in or P.L.A.N. or interest bank. When the time comes to withdraw all the money, we can move other accounts, other available account to P.L.A.N. account.
and
So that we can keep $100,000 in debt. If we don't want to move any money, then we end up paying 4.7%.
So,
That is also good, that's no problem.
well, what's that cost savings of putting 100,000 up and versus not doing putting 100,000 up? Like, what's the dollar amount?
We are going to save about 0.5% in interest.
Right, but what's the dollar amount?
I don't have a dollar amount, I can get back to you.
And what's the interest rate they're going to pay us on that 100,000?
But I don't know, it depends on the market. Whatever the
Oh, just bank
rate,
costs, just bank savings.
110.
Yeah.
whatever, whatever rate is available, generally it saves interest probably to approximately 5%.
So if we get 3 vehicles, so we're looking at about $54,000 this year.
Not 54.
You said 18,000 per vehicle, so it's 18,000 for all 3 for 1 year.
Yes,
Per year.
yes.
I can give you the accurate dollar amount tomorrow morning, plus interest calculation everything. I can send an email.
Why did you choose the CNN fund? Is that the only one that we have a large balance, or can it come from a CNN? That's why you chose the CNN fund?
So this line of credit that we're establishing with Old Plank is strictly for the lease agreement on these 3 vehicles and no more. But it lays the groundwork for future possibilities.
There is a possibility that we can get the line of credit up to $500,000 moving forward. Right?
Which is what we used to have back in the day when we
are
had.
planning to reestablish once again that line of credit.
Mr. Mohan, you said that we're trying to get establish a $500,000 credit line from Old Plank. We're gonna start off with $100,000 of our money, but you saying over the years, in this next 4 or 5 years, we're gonna move other accounts into that? So we'll use that account for collateral. So what other accounts do you anticipate moving monies from into this account?
Planning to move with the board approval of all the accounts which are in First Midwest Bank.
You say all the accounts?
All the accounts in First Midwest as well as U.S. Bank account and Illinois funds account.
In Illinois funds account? Where is the water fund money kept? Where's the water fund money kept?
The water fund money is in First Midwest Bank.
In what?
First Midwest Bank.
First Midwest? I mean, but we have more than $100,000 in the water fund, so.
We have approximately $504,000.
So what, how come we didn't use the water fund to put it over there? I mean, the water fund is not an option?
Once again, it's for the trustees and the mayor.
Oh, I'm just asking you, you the money man.
Any more questions? Okay, at this time, I would ask for a motion from the board to go into this lease agreement. But I need you to stipulate whether or not you want to use $100,000 or not use $100,000. So the first, the first one, to make it fair, the first one, I would ask for a motion to, I would entertain a motion to go into the agreement with Old Plank and use $100,000 or deposit $100,000 in their bank for the 4.2% interest. I'll entertain.
Second.
Okay, it was moved by Trustee Todd and second by Trustee Grant. Any questions?
Question,
Yes.
does the motion need to stipulate which fund we're gonna transfer?
No, I mean, you don't need to, because it may change. So we have to make sure that we maintain that, and that's what it says. We're going to maintain 100,000. Doesn't necessarily say what our account is going to come out of.
Well, I got another question real quick. With the 18,000 that we're gonna pay per year, where is that coming from?
It is coming from DEA account,
Well,
Drug
DEA
enforcement.
department.
DEA. Any more questions?
well, let me put this, Mohan, over conversations over the time since we've been here, you said you always like to keep a certain amount in the water fund, and I think it was 3,000 or 4,000, 100,000 or something. But if you like to keep that in the money, and we always keep it in the water fund,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be feasible just to move this over to Oak Plank? Or why you don't want to move it?
Not right now,
No.
because the water fund is connected with general fund.
Okay.
The deposits are made, both the general fund as well as water fund in First Midwest.
Okay,
If I move water fund money right now, the problem of depositing, because our accounting system consolidates both general fund and water fund into one account. I have to redistribute it the month end once again in order to classify and make sure that both general fund and water fund balances. That there's a combination of problems that's like, I don't want to move.
okay, all right, but,
Because
okay.
there are tons of other problems also connected to the postal funds. That's why the CN fund is an individual fund. It has its own general ledger, its own bank account, whereas water fund and general fund, it has a combination of the accounts.
Combination of, okay. Administrative work, okay. It's a problem, okay.
One more question. As far as the line of credit for the future, the 500,000, is that something that was agreed upon, or something that's like a guess that, as we put more and more of our cash into the bank, that they'll give this to us?
Well, I'm hoping that by doing business that we don't have to put 500,000 in the bank to borrow 500,000. I'm hoping that we can establish some type of rapport with them by moving that and letting them know that we're serious. Like I stated before, this will be the first time we've had credit in quite a while. So we have to start small, but what we're going to let them know is if we continue to do anything with them, that that's what it's going to lead to, is eventually asking them for a $500,000 bridge loan.
And that's,
Question. Sorry. The DEA fund that you're saying is going to be the source of the payments for these vehicles, what's the balance in it right now?
We have approximately over 22,000, some change.
22? So we have a long ways to go to get to 83.
Because remember, the DEA funds will be recouped once or twice every month, because whenever there is a seizure of assets, we get the distribution right away. So far we had about $159,000 within 2 years. So definitely that would be a good sign that moving forward we are going to get lots of money in the DEA account that could be used for.
And what's our backup plan if that doesn't pan out?
If it doesn't, we have a tow fund. We are getting tow money. So approximately we are generating about $90,000 on an annual basis. So that could substantiate in case DEA money is not available.
So how much is in tow fund now?
About we have 18,557.36.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Brewer,
What we call the road?
Just made a motion to, for the first proposal, which is the one for 4.2% with the $100,000 balance. That's what the motion, that's what the motion was made to say.
I thought the motion was to enter to the agreement.
Yeah, I'm sorry, enter to the agreement to the leasing contract with the 100, I was looking at the 4.2% first.
So we're voting on which one we're gonna choose, is that what we're doing?
We're voting on, right, well, the two things at once. I mean, the first one is for the $100,000, which would make the rate 4.2%. You can't vote on both of them, you have to vote on one and, or the other. But I'm looking at the first one, that's the first one that we have, which is the better rate with $100,000. The second one, as I explained, is 4.7% without any requirement.
So the person who made the motion thought that the 4.2% with the $100,000 on deposit at that bank was the better option to pursue, is how I interpret that.
I asked for that one. That wasn't the person. I asked for a motion for that first one because it is a better option. And it is trying to, like I said, establish credit. And it was motioned by Trustee Todd, second by Trustee Grant. And it was questioned. So I'm just asking Madam Clerk to call the roll on the first proposal.
And you said we have a time limit on this or something?
Okay, the next time we would have another meeting will probably be the second week in September. So quite naturally, with anything going on, I don't want them to rescind anything or whatever. And as you see on here, they're asking for us to make a decision. This is about the third or maybe the fourth bank we went to.
Do you mind sharing what the other banks, who the other banks were?
I don't, okay.
US Bank, one of them? Midwest?
He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to put that up there.
No.
Madam Clerk?
Trustee Brewer,
Abstain.
Trustee Grant,
Yes.
Trustee Jones,
yes.
Trustee Tate,
Yes.
Trustee Todd,
Yes.
Trustee Zupan.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Are there any comments from the Board of Trustees for this meeting? The other one will start in about 5 minutes.
Mohan, you will get that information to us tomorrow. The information that you said you would get to us, would you get that to us tomorrow?
Yeah, I can get some.
As far as the percentage,
The specifics on the vehicles.
yes.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by trustee Todd, second by trustee Jones, that we adjourn for about 8 minutes before the meeting starts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll adjourn until about 7:02.
How long you been working on that, this particular deal?
All stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Here. Trustee Grant.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Tate. Trustee Todd.
Here.
Trustee Zupan.
Here.
Okay. We don't need the executive session. We'll go right into I'm sorry, yes, we're gonna go into executive session. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for discussion of personnel matters update and pending litigation, collective bargaining matters, real estate, employment, and compensation as needed. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by trustee Todd, second by trustee Jones. Any questions? Madam Report.
Trustee Grant.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Tate.
Yes.
Trustee Todd.
Yes.
Trustee Zupan.
Yes.
Trustee Brewer. Yes.
Okay, we'll be back ASAP. All right, I'll entertain a motion to reconvene.
So moved. Second.
It was moved by trustee Zupan, second by trustee Todd. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brewer.
Here.
Trustee Grant.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Tate.
Yes.
Trustee Todd.
Here.
Trustee Zupan.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, item number 4, I'll entertain a motion to approve the committee meeting, the committee of the whole minutes for June 30th, 2017. June 20th, 2017. Can't read.
Second.
It was moved by trustee Brewer, second by trustee Todd. Any questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Brewer.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Tate. No. Todd.
Yes.
Zupan.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on any matter pertaining to the business of Sauk Village. Each speaker is allowed one opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not engage in debate. I don't know if that microphone is still on. No, it's not. Is it not on? You tapped it.
My name is Bernadine Hopkins. I have a question about the accounts payable. The first thing I want to know is, are these monthly disbursements? And the other thing I wanted to know was this. Well, first off, do you have a specific meeting or budget meeting regarding these disbursements or anything like that where just this issue could be entertained? That's another question. The other thing I wanted to know is on page, I believe that's page 1. Yeah, this is kind of hard. Oh, yes. Here it is. It is under it's under General Fund Administration. And I wanted to know what are semi-annual support fees? I'd just like to know what that is. Let me see. Oh, I've got a few things. Gee whiz. This is difficult. Oh, okay. On page, I believe that's page 5, under the water department funds. I see these items are listed as water deposit refunds. So I'm wondering, they're small amounts, but I'm just wondering why they would be listed under disbursements. And I'm gonna let it go at that.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay. The AP accounts payable has a date on there that shows where we actually, we do accounts payable every 2 weeks, every board meeting. So this is the meeting that we actually vote on disbursements for the paying of the bills, basically is what it is. Do we have a meeting for this? This is the meeting. I mean, I don't know what you mean by have a meeting for that part. As far as for disbursements, this is what we do now. You're asking about some items. Number 1, the first one was Civic Systems LLC.
That's correct.
Pardon me?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Mohan.
It is the software licensing fee for our accounting and financial system that is divided by 1/3 for general fund, 1/3 for water fund, and 1/3 for sewer fund.
All right, on page 5, you asked about the water deposit refund amount. Every transaction we do, we have to put in there where the money was refunded. It could be an account that was closed, person moved out of the village, or it could be an overpayment. Usually overpayments aren't on here. We credit the account the next period that they're getting their water bill. So this is probably, a refund is probably something that I guess you would call it a resident or a person that, in some of these cases right here is a business, may be leaving and they want their, and they do a refund.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misread it then. I thought it meant it was a refund coming in, so that was.
Oh, no, this is the disbursement. We're actually paying out to whoever's name is on there, and we have to keep track of that, and that's part of doing business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Reports of officers. We'll start with the mayor's report. I do have a statement to make about my 100 days of being in office and administration being put in place, and it goes as follows. Excuse me. All residents, Board of Trustees, employees, and all interested parties of Sauk Village. During the election process, as a candidate for mayor, I pledged to get Sauk Village on a pathway to progress and moving in a new direction. The election and its rhetoric ended on April 4th, and the new pathway to progress work began on May 9th, when this board took their oaths of office with virtually no transition. The change for our future is rooted in my vision of a strategic plan. The first 100 days of this administration has already been met with some challenges, but through collaboration with our new Board of Trustees, we will continue to move forward as planned. The Strategic Plan for Progress is a guideline of initiatives that this administration will work on for the village's future. It has provided us with a roadmap to address the many underlying issues we now face, build upon our strengths, and drive us towards stabilizing our village should we stay on this path to progress. These goals and strategies are created to improve and enhance all areas of the community, from addressing property values and our housing crisis to increasing transparency and bringing forth an environment that will increase economic development. I am thankful to my advisors, village staff, and village board who have all contributed their time, talents, and effort to finalize this blueprint for the village future and look forward to rebuilding a new direction. It truly reflects the commitment they have for our village's future success. Is this plan perfect? Of course not. Have we made some missteps? Yes, you bet. However, we, as village board, will continue to focus and work through this plan as a collaborative team effort, making amendments and revisions as needed along the way. In closing, I would like to summarize a few of our accomplishments we made to date. Number one, within the first 77 days we as a village board prepared and approved a realistic budget and balanced budget which was projected a surplus of $500,000. We focused our attention on resolving many open-ended human resource issues which will minimize future legal matters at a significant cost to the village. We received approval from Cook County on matching grant to begin a long overdue road work improvements. We've applied for funding so that the village can update its outdated 1999 comprehensive plan in early 2018. The comprehensive plan is a useful guideline that ensures uniformity and conformity for planning and zoning matters. We were successful in hiring seasonal workers who have been assigned to cutting the overgrown lawns on vacant homes. We were also successful in hiring an additional code enforcement officer to ensure a more aggressive approach on requiring property maintenance by our village residents, thereby raising our standards for property ownership. We are actively assessing Sauk Village's infrastructure needs and priorities, which will be incorporated into our ongoing strategic plan for progress. We have seen an increase in our village's equalized assessed value, and our property tax rate has decreased for the first time in 10 years. A clear indication we're on the right pathway. We have taken an aggressive approach with economic development within Sauk Village, aggressively seeking out developers who want to build new commercial and industrial developments. Sauk Village is the home of the most successful industrial park in the Midwest, and we want to ensure that as the economy continues to improve, we are ready for the new development. We have reconstructed our village board standing committees to ensure that the residents are better served in government and that the trustees are more actively engaged in planning and setting policy within the village. We know that there's a lot of hard work ahead, and as your mayor, I hope these changes help demonstrate my commitment to raising our quality of life for everyone by improving our standards and services for all residents, employees, and interested parties of Sauk Village. Thank you so very much. Village Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Testing. My report is as follows. I'm going to start with talking about the OMA training, and I am pleased to report that the 3 newer trustees have each shown evidence of having taken the training, and the older ones need not take it because it was only required for once within a specific period of time. So we are all good there. Where FOIA requests are concerned, between July 15th and today's date, I must still say that the requests continue to lessen, and I'm really pleased to report that. And we received not one request from residents during this reporting period, but however, we have received 6 requests. One of them was dealing with the zoning classification of the land sold west of I-394. That one was referred and responded to by our economic director. We had one asking for all of our purchasing records from 425 to the current, and the finance director responded to that. And then we had one dealing with fire safety inspections and code violations, and they were referred to the fire department and zoning department respectively. Then naturally we have what we get all the time, and those are the loans and foreclosures, and they were referred to Cindy. In terms of what we provide in terms of notary services, we were very, very busy during this period between Sherry and I. We notarized more than 40 signatures for proof of residency for the schools, and I alone notarized 14 documents for the business of the municipality. In terms of our communication, I reported to this board on June 27th the 4 avenues that we had for communicating with residents. We spoke of the website, saukvillage.org, and how it was being reorganized and rebuilt and everything. We talked about the newsletter. We talked about the e-news email system that we have through MailChimp. Know that where that's concerned, readership has increased by 25 residents since the last report. With our Facebook that is active, it is now called Sauk Village e-news, and I'm going to still invite each and every one to sign on to be friends with that and to follow it. But we started with 776 followers, and now it has increased to 856 in less than a month and a half. And this week, we only had like 3 posts, and this week, I mean between yesterday and today, we had 595 posts that had been reached and 3,124 people reached. As the 595 people who looked at the posts, they shared the posts with others, and those count toward our impact from that page. So you can see that a number of people are reading our information, and I think that it would behoove all of us to use that system so that you can get the word out and we can increase communication and involvement with our residents. Where this is concerned, also I understand that Trustee Zupan has plans for this communication piece and wishes it to be an ad hoc committee led by a trustee similar to the Senior and Beautification Committee. She has put together a draft of the committee's focus, which would be shared with the entire board at the meeting on September the 5th. Please know that if this is your desire, I will graciously step aside so that your will and your desires will be done. In terms of follow-up activities, the mayor and I met not too long ago with a representative from LT Sims' office, and he was representing the rep's office, but then also Cook County, and we volunteered our facilities to host events that are provided by the state, county, and other offices that will benefit our residents and those in the surrounding areas. An upcoming event will be a property tax appeals forum hosted by Commissioner Larry Rogers of the Cook County Board of Review. They've given us about 8 or 9 different days, then called back and had to take some of those days away because they committed to them, but offered us a couple more days. And so now we're into September or October when we will actually have that. In terms of the Muni codes, as you suggested, it has been confirmed that there will be a webinar on September the 19th during our regularly scheduled committee meeting. And know that we are working to ensure that the technology works for us and that there is no issues and that it would be a pleasing and profitable event. In terms of the tips, I spoke with Mary Thompson of Kane McKinney, our consultant, as you asked, and as per the agreement. She will be available to speak with the Board of Trustees and to provide a presentation concerning the nuts and bolts of the tax increment finance districts, operatives, and she is going to be available to be on site here October the 3rd. And I ask that you please inform me if you wish that to be a special meeting at 6:30 for her presentation, or if you would want that to be part of the committee meeting of that day. And that completes my report, sir.
Thank you. Village Engineer, Mr. Jim Zarnick.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a little bit of a longer report tonight, so bear with me. The Illinois Pollution Control Board has adopted a new lower chloride water quality standard that will go into effect in July of 2018. This regulates the amount of chloride that is allowed to enter the waterways throughout the state. Unfortunately, because of the urbanized nature of the Chicagoland area and the amount of road salt that is utilized to keep the roads safe in winter, this new lower chloride standard will be nearly impossible to achieve. Yay. Therefore, we are recommending that Sauk Village submits for a variance. This variance will, first of all, delay the need to comply with the new chloride standard for 5 to 10 years. And then secondly, require that the village observe best management practices to control the amount of chloride discharged to local waterways, which ends up being ways to simply reduce road salt usage. For any community tributary to the Chicago area waterway system, which includes Sauk Village, the MWRD has been spearheading a compliance initiative through their Chloride Initiative Work Group. MWRD will submit a master report that comprises the bulk of the variance application, and then each community within the work group will submit an individual application that references MWRD's report. This will need to be submitted in January of 2018. Non-compliance could result in a stormwater permit for municipal storm sewer systems. In consultation with Kevin Weller, Public Works Director, I have submitted Sauk Village's name for inclusion in the MWRD's work group. In a few months, we will prepare the village's portion of the variance application that will qualify Sauk Village for the variance and keep the village in compliance with the IEPA regulations. This is by far the most cost-effective way to keep the village in compliance. Let me know if you have any questions concerning this, and I'd be happy to discuss it with you. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Zarnick. Yes, we will, hopefully that we'll get involved in that ASAP, and I look forward to you informing the board.
Thank you.
Okay, reports of departments, committees, and commissions. Fire Chief Al Stoffragan.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Over the past 2 weeks, the fire department responded to 16 calls. Very low. That's a good kudos for everybody out there. We answered 4 fire alarms, 1 trouble alarm, 4 ambulance assist, 3 vehicle accidents, 1 smoking outlet, 1 lockout, 1 mutual aid to another town, and 1 structure fire. All right. If weather permitting, we're going to have a boot drive for burn camp, so the kids that have been burnt and burn victims can attend at no cost. This drive goes on throughout Illinois once a year. Last year, fire department with their boot drive collected $2,000. We hope to beat that. This year's boot drive will be August 29th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Sauk Trail in Torrance. And last but not least, we have a Fire Department Association will have their pancake breakfast Sunday morning from 8 to 12.
This Sunday?
Yes. And that ends our report.
I was going to ask you that. Okay, I just wanted to reiterate, I appreciate that we haven't had, but every time we brag about that, something happens. So maybe next time we can leave that out of the report. Report from Police Chief Robert Kowalski.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. For the past 2 weeks, we had 514 calls for service and had 20 arrests. Cases of interest: on August 10th, the Crete Police Department initiated a chase of an offender in a vehicle stolen from Crete. The chase ended in Sauk Village, and the offender ended up stealing another vehicle from Crete that was placed in our town. The chase continued with an offender striking a pedestrian at Sauk Trail and Jeffrey by the Marathon gas station, at which time our department in Crete terminated the chase to tend to the victim. Through Motorola radio, the offender was spotted in Lake County, Indiana, where the Dyer and St. John Police Department stopped the offender and ended the chase with the shooting of the offender. The victim of the accident, who was struck, was in critical condition and taken to Christ Hospital. This remains an open investigation at this time. On August 17th, the police were called to the 22400 block of Merrill to meet with the victim of an armed robbery. The victim explained that an offender walked up behind him and demanded the victim give him his car keys. The victim saw the offender holding a handgun and gave the offender the keys. After giving the offender those keys, the offender drove off with the victim's vehicle. The victim thought he knew the offender and went to an area he believed the offender lived. The victim called the police, who waited for the offender to exit the residence. When the offender exited the house, the victim identified the offender, who was taken into custody. The offender did have a gun on his person, which was recovered by the arresting officers. It should be noted the offender was on probation for home invasion at the time and was a juvenile. The victim positively identified the offender in a lineup and identified the gun. The offender was then properly charged and transported to the juvenile detention center. Now, something of interest, the FBI's Criminal Justice Information Services Division is hosting 5 regional National Incident-Based Reporting System training sessions in 2017. These training sessions are designed to help state agencies and agencies eligible to participate in the Bureau of Justice Statistics National Crime Statistics Exchange initiative, which is to help better an understanding of this new joint national information-based reporting system with the Uniform Crime Report. We received an invitation to be one of the participants in this initiative, and as a result, our police department is invited to attend training session number 5, which will be held September 19th through the 21st in St. Louis, Missouri. This initiative participants are eligible to receive various levels of assistance from the Bureau of Justice Statistics in transitioning to this new NIBRS, the National Incident-Based Reporting System, which includes funding, training, technical support, or other customized incentives such as increased operational and analytical capabilities. This initiative representatives will be on hand at the training session to answer any questions. The FBI will reimburse our department 100% for travel expenses to send 2 representatives to this training session. The FBI believes it's essential that the state be involved in all the information solutions related to the enabling agencies to submit to this NIBRS database in conjunction with the Uniform Crime Report to the FBI within their state. Regardless what that solution is, and as such, the FBI encourages us to work closely with the Illinois State Police Uniform Crime Report Office. I know that sounds kind of confusing, but what it is in the past I've reported on the Uniform Crime Report, which identifies 8 major crimes that are reported to the state police, then to the FBI for collection of this information. What NIBRS is, this National Incident-Based Reporting System, it's a more complex, more in-depth reporting for towns such as ours and others that have more crimes that need to be reported that are of better interest and would suit our department better. So it's more intense Unfortunately, this probably won't take place for several years, and there's going to be a lot of gnashing of teeth and a lot of learning because of the fact that many departments have different reporting management systems. So there's going to have to be a lot of collaboration with all these departments. Lastly, the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System coordinator, which is our mutual aid for the state, for our area, provided us with 240 full flat respirators, which are recommended for use by law enforcement when dealing with any powder-like illegal substances such as fentanyl. These masks are designed and recommended to prevent an officer from inhaling these type of toxic illegal substances. Each of our officers will receive several of these full flat respirators so that they could carry them with them in their cars and use them whenever there's such a powder-like substance in their arrest situation. Something like this we got for free and could run anywhere up to $200. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Chief. I just wanted to mention, with your modesty, that there were, in your report, there was included also a few, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thank you letters that were penned by individuals, by individual residents. And we're not going to go through them, but if anyone would like to see them after the meeting, you can. Of thanking the police department for some of the heroic and also going out of their way, doing some of the things for the residents in the village. And we do, everyone here has a copy of it, but I will pass it on to the residents after the meeting, those who would like to see it. But it's great to hear that the residents are actually thanking you for a job that you've already, to show that it's well done.
Thank you. And just a side note, whenever I get these, I make sure I identify the individual on the department, and I make sure I give them a letter of appreciation from me and from the village.
Thank you. As the director, Mr. Alan Vavrick.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. At this time, I have nothing to divulge to anybody right now. Just that me and Gary, we attended a conference and we made some contacts, and hopefully we get some stuff going for email out here in the village. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. In lieu of Kevin Weller, he's not here, I do have his report, and is as follows. Item number 1, the second and final branch pickup will begin on September 4th. All branches must be out by September 10th. All piles placed out after each street is completed will be ticketed. I'll read that again. All piles that are placed out after each street is completed, which means after they pick up the branches and you put them out there after that, you will receive a ticket. Any piles that have garbage or other debris will be passed by. We only take branches. Branches can be placed out 1 week prior to scheduled pickup. Number 2, the grass cutting at vacant homes and lots is ongoing. Total lots checked 127. Total cut to date 46, plus all village-owned locations. Number 3, staff is working on the north side of the village shut-off list. Is a total of 116 to go off, and they will finish up by Tuesday, the 22nd. That's today. Item number 4, we have had 2 main breaks on the 10-inch line west of 394. One was a 48-inch crack at the bottom, and the other one was an 18-inch crack. The first one was temporary repair to get the West Tower filled back up to support a permanent repair. We will be back Monday, the 21st, to cut it and replace an 18-inch main and put it in a valve to lessen the impact of any future issues. Item number 5, staff started to move back to the B-box digs, rehabs, and high bills. The first B-box is at 21741 Peterson, leaky, needed new valve. And item number 6, the water department is having all 3 tanks internally inspected and any sediment removed. We received 3 quotes and accepted the one from Midco Diving and Marine Services, Inc. Final report will be given and cost estimates will follow if needed. That is the report from the from the Public Works. Next, Finance and Administration, Mr. Mohan Rao.
Thank you very much, Mayor and the Board of Trustees. There are a couple items. I would like to recall the collector's report for the month of May as it had some errors. And the May report will be regenerated in a couple days and will be emailed to the attention of Board of Trustees and the Mayor. The second is, as of July, we have collected through Illinois Comptroller's collections about $5,935.80. The third item is we have got information from Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity that the contract has been extended until August 31st of 2018. The overtime reimbursement from Department of Justice, we have gotten towards the Police Department. We have about $3,150. The second installment of real estate tax collection was, as of July, $383,270.49, and as of today, for the month of August, approximately about $400,000 we have collected so far towards the real estate taxes. That ends my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan. Economic Development, Mr. Joseph Wiswater.
No.
I'm sorry. Told you it's a senior moment. Okay, Community Development, Sherry Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a brief report. We're having a zoning board meeting next Monday, the 28th at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom for a text amendment. And this is the 3rd week of my part-time employee, code enforcement employee. I'm hoping to get him out on his own by the 5th. I'm still in need of a vehicle, a police radio, and a cell phone. Until I get these items, I cannot put him out on his own. So, Chief, I keep asking and I'm not getting nothing. I need to get this done so we can get him out on his own. He's going to be with Sue another week, and then I would definitely like to get him on his own. So that would conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll try to do that. Kevin's not here. He did tell us, and you were there, that he's getting another car ready, so. And the radio, I'm sure the chief he heard you, so I'm sure he's going to be getting on that. He's pretty good at that, matter of fact. See, told you he was good at that. Okay, now, Economic Development, Mr. Joseph Wiswater.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Board of Trustees, over the last couple of weeks, we've been very busy meeting with a new business interested in the Sauk Village market and a developer for the commercial development. The developer has presented me with a preliminary site plan, which would consist of a 20,000 square foot commercial site for a bank, restaurant, and a flexible business industrial development consisting of about 27,500 square feet. This would be the largest commercial development in Sauk Village's history. To give you an idea of the size of the project, this would be bigger than the bowling alley in the late 60s, Surrey-Brook Plaza, and the old Bonnie's grocery store in the mid-70s, and bigger than the 39,000 square foot Sauk Plaza development in the 1960s. The new business venture has begun evaluating their market needs and negotiations are ongoing with the new business venture on the terms of the lease agreement. Once that has been secured, the developer will work on a pro forma for the tax increment financing, which is required under the 1993 redevelopment agreement as amended in 2001. Mayor Burgess and I met with representatives from Behr Paint last week and toured their 300,000 square foot facility. Behr currently distributes over 9 million gallons of paint annually from Sauk Village, which is a retail value of over $200 million. Behr currently operates 3 shifts and has over 73 full-time employees there. I'm pleased to report to the board and to the residents that Bear recently executed a 5-year extension on their lease agreement to stay in the Logistics Center and will be expanding operations within the next 4 years. Something new that Bear is doing in Sauk Village is that they are now selling directly from Sauk Village to regional and end users, mixing the paint here locally and customizing colors. The paint is shipped locally or picked up by their current contract vendors. We've been in discussions with other potential businesses interested in locating in Sauk Village because of our logistics and the proximity to the Chicago metropolitan area. Hope to have some good news for all of you soon. Finally, I'm pleased to report that Sauk Village was host for a meeting with representatives of Cook County, South Suburban mayors and managers, mayors and representatives of Chicago Heights, Linwood, Steger, Ford Heights, and of course Sauk Village, as well as developers to discuss the Lincoln Highway Logistic Corridor. The technical committee is working on a strategic plan for logistics within the Lincoln Highway corridor, which is Chicago Heights, Ford Heights, and Sauk Village. The strategic plan will be completed in 2018, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Reports of trustees and standing committees. Public Services Senior Committee Trustee Bernice Brewer.
No report at this time.
Okay. Budget and Finance Trustee Roderick Grant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Budget and Finance Committee canceled their meeting for this month. We will pick up next month, and we'll have an update then.
Thank you. Parks and Recs Trustee Calvin Jones.
This Saturday from 11 to 2:30 will be open gym. Please come out and enjoy yourself, and if you want to bring kids, grandkids, there should be plenty of activities for them. We got the Corner Dog Roast coming up September 16th from 11 to 5 right behind the Village Hall. Also, as of right now, first one on board, we will have Walgreens. Walgreens will be giving flu shots during the Corner Dog Roast from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you have your insurance card, please bring it with you. If not, you can sign a voucher and still receive 16th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the next Parks and Recs committee meeting will be the 7th of September. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee. Housing and Intergovernmental Trustee Cecil Tates.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ordinance Review and Beautification Trustee Linda Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next meeting for our ordinance review is August 28th at 6:30 p.m. here at the Village Hall. And as far as the Beautification Committee, because we really don't have a meeting, we are still looking for volunteers, but due to the lack of volunteers, we will not be doing hootsies this year. That'll have to be done next year. I'm going to try to get volunteers because it takes a lot to actually go out and start judging. Usually it took us about 2 weeks of constant. So we won't be doing hootsies this year. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee. Public Safety Trustee Beth Supine.
The next public safety meeting will be Wednesday, September 6th at 6 p.m. here at Village Hall. Anyone interested in participating in the committee is welcome to join us that night. Thank you. That ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee. Unfinished business. I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposal from the Reju Janitorial Cleaning Service for the Community Center, Police Station, and the Municipal Center. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Trustee Todd, second by Trustee Brewer. Any questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Tate?
Yes.
Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Motion is carried. They'll be starting the first of the month, so I think it's the Friday. But before then, they'll be coming in to do inventory to see what it is and any kind of equipment they're going to leave here too. So we will be having someone to go around with them to make sure that it is a smooth transition. New business. I'll entertain a motion to approve accounts payable for August 22nd, 2017 per Sauk Village policy.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by trustee Todd and second by trustee Brewer. Any questions? Madam Clerk.
Trustee Tate?
Yes.
Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Motion is carried. General comments from the Board of Trustees. We'll start with trustee Todd.
Thank you. I'd like to first give an apology to some of our volunteers because National Night Out, I did not thank some of the volunteers, and without them, we wouldn't be able to do it. And those volunteers were Sue Siner, Jackie Glaze, Chris Turner, the Ketchums, Bob and Rose, and Clerk Marvin Campbell Pruitt. So I didn't want that to go unnoticed. One of the other things is, the clerk and I are wishing to plan an event that focuses on our youth and our families. We wish to stage this event in time for the Christmas holidays. What I'd like to know, Mr. Mayor, if you would provide direction with regards to our next steps. Do we have to get something approved by the board if we want to do something at Christmas time for the kids and the families?
Okay, as far as anything to be approved by the board, it would probably, if it's any expense, that part. Anything else, no, it shouldn't be any problem, but the expense, if there's going to be a cost involved, then yes, the board has to work that out. But if there's anything else that you guys would like to do, no, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. We are seeking volunteers to serve on a committee to plan this event once we are approved. So most likely we're going to be looking for a lot of donations without having to use the village money. So if you're interested in joining the committee, please contact Clerk Campbell Pruitt or myself. And that ends my report.
Okay. Trustee Brewer.
Mr. Mayor, a request. When we get ready to approve accounts payable, can we have Mohan just hold back a few minutes in case we have some questions? You know,
Sure,
next time,
okay, because I thought maybe we had a chance. If that's the case, let me know ahead of time that you hadn't had a chance to talk to him during the week. And yes, he can stand by.
Okay, and the second thing is I put a written request in everybody's pocket requesting some supporting documents for the $32,000 that we, Mr. Slattery talked about for the MFT, well, they said it's MFT, for the old funds, the old monies that we're gonna use. So I was hoping for a copy of the supporting documents, and I asked Mohan to have them ready for yesterday, but I didn't get them, so I want to make sure I get that because I know we're coming up for a vote or whatever, but I would like to take a look at the supporting documents since it's so old. You indicated it was back from 2004, and we should have documentations from
2004?
Yeah, that's what, yeah, I had to look at tape again, but you said 2004. I was sort of.
We voted on that last.
Yeah, you did vote on it, but I'm trying to.
I still want the.
Okay, but I mean, that one was 2004. It might have been before I was on board.
You said it was way before you got.
Yeah, because that was the Jesse Jackson, Congressman Jackson grant. That was part of that. Yes.
Yeah, and I would just like to see the supporting documents for something that comes in that old, because I don't know any state or federal agencies that let you hold money that long. You know, that's like 13 years.
Well, we've had TIF money for longer than that.
Well, I'm just saying, I have never seen it, so I would like to see supporting documents.
Okay, because TIF money stays, there's TIF money that's been in there since beginning of the TIF. And it's been there for a reason.
In this particular case, you indicated was ADOT money, old money.
Yes.
And it was not MFT. The document I got in there said it was MFT, but everybody else didn't get the same document I had. So.
Okay. I mean, did you get a chance to talk to Mohan yet about that?
I gave everybody a written request.
Okay. Well, only one that would know that would be Mohan. And if you need to, I mean, you can make an appointment with him tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow. You look it over, you can see. But what I was trying to say is, it's not just MFT. I don't want you to. It's the process, the same as MFT.
Yeah, that's what.
And anything dealing with road repairs or whatever, quite naturally, is MFT, it's motor fuel tax, so therefore there's money for that, but I'll show it.
If I can interrupt, sorry. As I recall the conversation from last week, the representative from Baxter Woodman, Mr. Slattery, said that it was a standard form that they used and it was not MFT funds. That was your concern at the time, was there MFT funds included in this 32,000? And he said that even though it said that on the form, that was not the case. And I thought that at the time, that's what you were asking for clarity on.
That's what I'm asking for clarity. If my form says MFT, is MFT. Now he's telling me that this is old money, and he doesn't have any supporting documents, so what am I supposed to see? What I got in front of me or what he's saying? So I would like some supporting documents to show what the $32,000 was for. And then you just think about it. There has been 3 administrations in here since 2004. Where has this money been for so long? You know,
like I stated, it stays in the account until money's set aside all the time for such things that we're talking about. It's always set aside because you cannot spend it all because it hasn't made the final grade. So they do that on purpose until most construction has been done to keep from putting the final grade, and then you got more construction, now you're tearing the streets up. So that's why they hold that money back, and it's being held, believe me, it's more than just that in that particular account, but there's money being held, period, for just that reason. And when you do new developments, if you do new subdivisions, money is held until after that subdivision is 80–85% taken care of, then they use that money. If the subdivision takes 3 or 4 years to do it, or 5 or 6 years, it's held in lieu.
I'm in agreement with you. I just like to see the supporting documents. You know, I got conflict. He tells me something and I get something else. So.
No, but you said that you never heard of that. But yes, that's done all the time. But yeah, yes, there is paperwork. It has to be.
Yeah, I would like to see it, and that's in my report.
Trustee Tate.
I hate that our first responders left. It's been an extremely busy couple of weeks, and I just wanted to give kudos to all of our first responders who've been Johnny on the spot with the water leaks, with the fires. They have just been out there non-stop for us. So I just want to, hopefully you can pass it on during your meeting to let them know that I appreciate their hard work. As you can see, the blankets are on the table, the throws are on the table for people to touch, feel, to see the quality of them. Also, the jars are there for donations for the raffle. I have raffle tickets. The raffle, again, is going to be held during the Parks and Recs corn and dog roast. We're going to have the drawing on that evening. One thing that was mentioned, well, let me back up a little bit. We're reworking the resident handbook manual. We covered this, I guess, a couple of weeks ago. We're still working on that. So hopefully there'll be a draft ready again for our committee meeting next month. So you'll see that. One thing that was given out, one thing that was said was that the Clerk Campbell Pruitt said there was a recycled document that was out, and I had said we should we're encouraging residents to contact Republic firsthand to find out what the garbage days are, what the recycle days are. The document that's mentioned is outdated. It's almost a year old, and I'm not sure how much of that information is current. So I still encourage residents to contact Republic rather than depending on that document that's up on the board outside. To get your garbage days and your recycling days, to get all that information firsthand. We've had incidents where people have set out their garbage cans and recycle bins early, and they've gotten tickets for it. So I want you to be diligent, call Republic, find out those days that you need to know for your area, Each area is different. We have a lot of developments in Sauk Village, so your days are different. Don't depend on anyone to tell you what the days are for your development, or put your garbage cans out because you see everyone else putting them. Call Republic and just be sure. Again, we're expressing this in our resident manual for first-hand contact with Republic to make sure that what's being told to you by anyone is from Republic and not someone in Sauk Village. Last week I received a copy of the village, the meeting for the village, which was Tuesday, and I received it Wednesday when I came in here. One thing for the Open Meetings Act, I pick up my materials on Sunday, so you cannot develop a document Monday or Tuesday or whatever. The state law does not permit that. So what I would receive, Mr. Mayor, and you did correct it during our conversation during the board meeting. So I just think it's time that we start providing materials in a timely fashion in accordance with the law. One final thing just for the new board members, just for your information. About 3 months ago, I attended a meeting with some attorneys regarding Sauk Village. And one of the questions that was asked prior to getting into the meat of the thing was about our minutes that we received. And the question was about grammatical errors, spelling errors, and all that good stuff. Fortunately for me, I had voted no on those minutes, so I didn't have any response when I was asked, do the trustees review their minutes? Now, I bring that up because a couple of meetings ago, there was a double D in our ordinance, and we were going to eliminate all of that stuff that was there. I encourage you to be sure that changes are made to documents you're going to vote on, because the back sheet of the village minutes has each vote on it. So if you vote for something but it's not changed, then that vote stands. So make sure that when you vote on something that the changes are made accurately, or as you see fit to make those changes on that. That was just, my meeting with the attorneys did turn out well. It was a good meeting. But that was just something they brought up because we have so many errors, and we've seen that, the errors with our minutes, with our agendas. And hopefully one day we're going to receive one set of agenda minutes and not multiples. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Jones?
Just a side note, as far as what you're gonna do for the Christmas for the kids and for the youth. You know, we're gonna have, I just wanna, so we can get dates together. Normally, the Santa sleigh that goes around the town parade is normally the first Saturday of December, but this is gonna be on our agenda. We're gonna talk about it in the next meeting for upcoming events, and I just wanna, you know, so we don't clash, you know, because there's gonna be something, probably something similar, you know, that way, you know, kids don't mind if they go every day, but I mean, just so that we don't, hit the same dates and whatever. I don't know if you got a date in your head. Maybe we could reconsider and find out, what date you got versus the date I got going on, so that we both could put on a successful event. And that's it for my comments.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Zupan?
At first, I didn't think I was going to have any comments, but as we were listening to the reports of the departments, committees, and commissions, I realized that my pack for this meeting was incomplete this evening. I was missing 3 reports from department heads, so I don't know what else to say. I had more in my pack than last week when someone obviously took my pack out of my box, but my pack this week was incomplete, so I just want to mention that I'm still having issues.
May I please? May I?
No.
Please.
No. That it, Trustee?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
No comment.
Okay. Now, Madam Clerk.
This is the very first location that I have ever worked with when department heads or people are asked to submit a report and are given a deadline for submitting the report, and it does not occur. I have never worked in a location like this. We've asked for reports on Thursday evening and certainly before noon on Friday, because your packets are ready on Friday. Know that today at about 2:30, I received one of the reports today that was put in your box. Others came yesterday, one came Sunday. I cannot be responsible for staff who do not follow process and procedures. I shared with one person today, when you bring it, and then there are some that I still have not received, okay?
And that's good to know, because that means we have a different problem, and I know you don't want to get into back and forth.
That was the reason why I didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that I wouldn't have to do this. This was about, I thought, so we'll be working on it. I'm sorry that this is the very first organization that you worked for that was not competent enough to your standards, but we're working on it. We're trying to do our best. We're trying to do our best. And to make that statement, I'm very, very upset that this is the very first time. But however, I just wanted to say under what I have to say before we adjourn, that we are going to move, and this village is going to prosper. There are some things that are in the works right now. We haven't, due to, I can say, business, as they call it, we haven't really talked about it a lot. The board knows a few things about it, but we're on the path in just a small time. And with the help of the residents, understanding what we're trying to do, and the residents, some of them now say, oh yes, I now understand, now I get it. This is what we're trying to do. I'm not here to look at accolades. I'm a part-time mayor. I'm here every day. Sometimes I stay here longer than the people that are getting paid, but that's what I do, because this is about this village moving in a direction where it needs to be moved so we can still compete. As was stated today by our Economic Development Director, we had a meeting here, must have had maybe 12 Cook County Cook County officials that were here. And they had their own agenda. They had things they were bringing to the South Land Court or the South suburbs. My question to them is this: when time comes that we need Cook County to step up for us because of the proximity of where we live next to Indiana, are they willing to do that? Are they willing to give us the tools and the funding and the incentives that are needed to attract these businesses that are coming here because we are Collier County. We already have to compete with the taxes of Cook County, the state, and anything else that they happen to come up with. Are they willing to help us attract the big box? Because we're such close proximity to Indiana. And they assured me they will. I said, okay, I'm gonna hold you to that. Because that's what we really need. We need a even playing field to attract these businesses. Quite naturally, we already know we cannot bring in cigarettes. We can, but it's gonna cost you a lot. Gas, competing. Now we have to compete with beverages, which means that's a lot of retail. So we're looking to ask them to help us out when it comes time to bring these multi-million-dollar, even billion-dollar corporations here. And those are some of the things that I did bring up to ask them. And a lot of them said, yes, we are. So believe me, when it happens, when it comes time for us to do that, I'm going to be looking for it. Because the reason why I say that, I don't know how many people here remember, but there was a company, a corporation that was on their way to come here to Sauk Village at one time. It's a large corporation. And we lost it due to the fact that the county wouldn't step up. And that was a multi-million-dollar operation. I think it had about 135 jobs that were going to go into the logistics center. So I'm hoping again, and I've made that, and I even said that down in Springfield. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again because we are in such a location. We have an advantage because we have the stoplight, but we also have a disadvantage because we're just right across the street from Indiana. So, with that being said, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It was moved by Trustee Zupan and second by Trustee Jones. All in favor? Aye. Opposes? Motion carried.